Good evening, I'm Ryan Benazzo.
And I'm Catalina Gillies. Murder charges have now been laid against two young men in connection with the death of 33-year-old Jordan LaPointe at a home in Westfort.
The homicide occurred on October 3rd. First responders at the time were called to an explosion and fire on Frederica Street. Danielle Bain picks up the story.
The family of Jordan LaPointe has been calling for justice in his murder. And now, Thunder Bay Police are confirming their major crimes unit has charged two people they believe to be responsible. Detective Inspector John Fennell revealed the names of the suspects charged with first-degree murder.
Arrested is Shane Cabral, 19 of Ottawa, and Michael Gomez, 20 of Nepean, Ontario. Both are not residents of Thunder Bay.
Fennell says the two suspects were already in custody for a completely separate incident after being arrested Friday for trafficking cocaine and fentanyl. Detective Sergeant Jeremy Pearson declined to comment on the specific details of the murder case, including the source of the explosion and fire at the house and whether or not LaPointe was dead prior to it. Although he's confident in the arrests made, the investigation is far from over.
There are still, I believe, witnesses outstanding who may have information that is important to this investigation. We're at this point open to all possibilities. With that said, we are confident in the charges we have laid, certainly. But I am not ruling out further charges pending, and I'm not ruling out this investigation being lengthy.
LaPointe's family has confirmed that he was recovering from addiction, but Pearson doesn't want to make any assumptions about the motive for this murder.
I won't theorize at this point in the process on a specific backstory or motive. I certainly believe that, as the inspector mentioned, we've come to learn through the investigation that there was an element of drug activity to this overall story.
Fennell says this case is extremely complex, but whether or not drugs are directly related, the drug activity in the city has been leading towards a scary level of violence.
We've talked about these stories before. The drug trade is absolutely an impact on us. Whether it's directly involved or indirectly involved, there's a great deal of it in the city, and there's an awful lot of violence that's perpetuating out of it. We are concerned, we are alarmed, and we continue to arrest on a regular basis.
Both men remain in custody with a future court date on November 3rd. Danielle Bain, TVT News.
It was a major celebration in Geraldton today as the Greenstone Gold Mine officially broke ground this afternoon. The open pit mine has been in development for over a decade, and today dignitaries from the town, the province, 4 area First Nations, the Métis Nation, and the mine's parent companies gathered for the ceremonial groundbreaking at the mine site just south of Geraldton. The Greenstone mine is expected to provide more than 2,000 jobs during construction, 500 direct jobs when it's operational, and produce more than 5 million ounces of gold over the project's initial 14-year lifespan. We'll have the full story on the big event and details on the mine's next steps on tomorrow's NewsHour.
Local MP Patty Hajdu says she's excited about her cabinet move over to Indigenous services, calling it a portfolio that she's passionate about. Hajdu will face challenges right away, with a decision looming on whether her government will appeal a court ruling to give billions to Indigenous children in the child welfare system. She'll also be tasked with bringing clean drinking water to First Nations. Corey Nordstrom has more.
Patty Hajdu has been moved to her 4th ministerial duty with the unveiling of the new federal cabinet on Tuesday. Hajdu says she feels honored that Justin Trudeau named her to this position, which she has some familiarity with.
It's something that the Prime Minister knows that I have a passion about, and that I've worked on many issues that intersect with Indigenous people over the number of years that I've been living in Northern Ontario.
The newly named Indigenous Services Minister is looking forward to the work ahead, which includes the lifting of the final 44 boil water advisories on First Nations across Canada. It's a goal Trudeau promised to accomplish before becoming Prime Minister in 2015.
This is a top priority for the Government of Canada, and I'm really looking forward to understanding those continued long-term boil water advisories better and meeting with those individual communities to hear their perspectives on how we more quickly accelerate this work.
One of the first moves her office will need to make is a critical one: Whether to appeal a federal court decision to uphold 2 Canadian Human Rights Tribunal orders to pay billions to Indigenous children wrongly placed in the child welfare system. With a Friday deadline to appeal, Hajdu says she will be heavily involved in the decision.
Litigation isn't serving anybody. And so I'll be working with my colleagues over the next day or so that we can understand the next steps forward. There is no question that compensation needs to be paid for the historical human rights violations.
Another new duty of Hajdu's will be overseeing FedNor. The Thunder Bay Superior North MP is excited to shape the work being done at the Economic Development Agency to better fit the needs of Northern Ontario. Corey Nordstrom, TVT News.
There are 3 more COVID-19 cases being reported today by the Thunder Bay District Health Unit. There are now 17 active cases across the district, 13 of which are in the Greenstone area, according to the Geraldton District Hospital. One of the new cases is in the Thunder Bay area, while the other 2 come from First Nation communities. There's 1 close contact infection, and the other exposure sources are still unknown. The 17 active cases marks the highest total in the TBDHU since September 13th. On the vaccine front, nearly 1,800 shots were administered last week across the health unit's catchment area. Just over 500 were first doses. 93% of the eligible population has at least 1 shot, and 88% are fully vaccinated. The Northwestern Health Unit has 1 new COVID-19 case today in the Rainy River District. The NWHU now has 2 active cases.
A few weeks ago, Ontario started administering 3rd doses of the COVID vaccine to those who have significant personal health challenges. But now the province is being asked whether Ontario will follow BC's lead in authorizing booster shots for the general public. Colin DeMello has the story.
For many in the healthcare sector, it's almost been a year since they received their COVID-19 vaccines, and concerns about waning immunity are rising to the surface.
After any infection, not just COVID, but a lot of respiratory infections, after about 6 months, your initial neutralizing antibody response wanes a bit in the respiratory passages. So what this means is that, let's say it's 6 months after an infection, if you're exposed to the same virus, you could potentially get symptoms again.
Those concerns have sparked a new conversation about 3rd doses. In British Columbia, the province made waves this week by allowing every single resident to get a booster shot in 2022.
As of sort of probably the middle of January, we'll start opening things up to everybody from 12 on up.
But in Ontario, the Minister of Health says the province has yet to make that decision.
We're ready to go, but that's going to be subject to the recommendations of Health Canada, NACI, and our Chief Medical Officer of Health.
Right now, the province has been focusing on residents of high-risk congregate settings, including long-term care and higher-risk retirement homes, those who are receiving active treatment for cancers and solid tumors, those with moderate or severe immunodeficiencies, and those with stage 3 or advanced untreated HIV.
We are continuing to look at other groups, but that is within the realm of the Chief Medical Officer of Health to make any recommendations concerning that.
But an infectious disease specialist says re-inoculating against the same strain might not be an effective strategy.
So for this population, I think, say, for example, community dwelling people over the age of 65, I think that giving a 3rd dose makes sense. Advanced immune suppression, it makes sense. But as a general public thing, and for otherwise healthy healthcare workers, I don't think that right now 3rd dose is necessarily indicated.
Should there be a new strain of COVID-19, he said, then booster shots might have to be necessary.
Ontario's COVID-19 advisory table is calling for a school-based approach to vaccinate young children once a vaccine is approved for that age group. The science table outlined its plan on what its members call evidence-based data from other childhood vaccination programs. They suggest creating public health campaigns and getting primary care doctors on board to recommend the shot. They say that increasing the vaccine uptake among kids will help them safely return to pre-pandemic activities.
Travel along Edward Street is about to get a lot easier. Motorists will soon be able to drive over the new Edward Street Bridge, and the stretch of road north of the new roundabout will open up soon as well. As Mitchell Ringos tells us, construction on both projects will come to an end on Friday.
Construction on the new bridge on Edward Street first began in late April, and now the $6.5 million project will be finished and open to the public sometime on Friday. The 4-lane bridge crosses the Nebing River between Parkway Drive and Riverview Drive and has a new multi-use trail running underneath it on the south side. City project engineer Mike Vogrig says there were some delays due to COVID and shipping, but he's happy Thunder Bay motorists can once again drive the busy route without detours.
Well, yeah, with the roundabout and with the bridge construction underway, Edward Street's basically been shut down the entire summer, so I think a lot of people will be happy that they don't have to take the detour. The good thing is James Street was a convenient detour, not too far out of people's way, but I'm sure people in the area will appreciate having it back open again.
Meanwhile, the stretch of Edward Street between the new roundabout and William Street will be fully reopened on Friday as well, as the water main work and repaving is now complete. The roundabout itself has been open since late September, but hasn't seen much traffic other than locals and curious drivers due to construction north and south of it. But with that construction coming to an end, city project engineer Matthew Miedema says it will be exciting to see the roundabout in full use. All that's left are the small details.
The only remaining work there after we complete things on Friday would be the final landscaping and the plants at the roundabout itself there. So the areas are mulched to protect it from weeds and until we get the plantings planted next spring. So right now the conservatory staff has got the seeds and they'll be growing those plants over the winter season here, and then hopefully early spring we'll see those plants go in.
Even though there is no confirmed time on when both construction sites will open, at some point on Friday, Thunder Bay drivers can finally avoid the detours and head through Edward Street. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
Events were held around the city today as people wore purple and stepped up for Child Abuse Prevention Month. At Claude Garton School, the grade 5 and grade 6 students took part in a motivational workshop. Turtle Concepts, an organization geared toward instilling confidence in individuals, partnered with Daliko Anishinaabe Family Care to highlight the significance of the month and raise awareness on how the community can help keep children safe. The founder of Turtle Concepts, David Jones, says he loves what the partnership was able to accomplish through this event.
Daliko and Turtle Concepts have come up with an innovative way to showcase energy, to give children a chance to have a voice, and to say that stepping up is a smile, it's being kind, it's stopping bullying, it's just the gentle reminders that sometimes we forget because we're busy living and having fun.
Just to be more positive and have a better energy towards other people and everybody else who I don't know, and to be welcoming.
The interactive workshop gave students a chance to share all the ways they've been stepping up for their friends and family, taught them about the importance of individuality, and gave students the confidence and strategies they need to step up against child abuse in the future.
I'm glad I wore my purple.